All right, so move on to the next segment. We're going to pivot here to the world of boxing, and I'll be sharing my fight prediction for this weekend's fight taking place in the sport of boxing between Keyshawn Davis and Edwin De Los Santos. So, for a ESPN top-ranked promotions fight, you will be seeing Keyshawn Davis defend his WBO lightweight title against Edwin De Los Santos this weekend in the sport of boxing. So, these are the following storylines that I have heading into this lightweight championship fight. Starting off with storyline number one. Is Keyshawn Davis ready for his first world title defense, I should say? And yes, Keyshawn Davis has only had a total of 13 pro fights. He joins an elite list of fighters that won world titles in under 15 professional fights in their boxing careers. I'm talking Oscar De La Hoya. I'm talking Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. Keyshawn Davis is a part of that list of fighters that won world titles under 15 pro fights. So that shows you how special of a fighter that Keyshawn Davis really is. He is a legitimate threat in this lightweight division. And I think Keyshawn Davis is he's on the trajectory right now based off how Top Rank has built him. He's defeated the former world champions. He's passed every test with flying colors. I think Keyshawn Davis is on his way to having a bright boxing future if he keeps this up. But also, he is on a path of destruction at this lightweight division. And there's a lot of talent at this lightweight division that hold world titles. You have Gervonta Davis that has a WBA title. Lamont Roach is a threat at 135. He didn't get the victory against Tank and went to a draw, but Lamont Roach is a threat at this 135-pound division. His mate, Shakur Stevenson, who holds the WBC title. If Vasily Lomachenko doesn't retire, he still is the IBF champ. There is so much talent in this lightweight division, but you guys cannot overlook how special Keyshawn Davis really is. And I think this weekend, he's going to send a message in his first title defense against Edwin De Los Santos. But I want to see how Keyshawn Davis handles the pressure instead of being the hunter and now is the hunted with a target on his back in his first world title defense. And then for Edwin De Los Santos, is Edwin De Los Santos truly ready for another world title opportunity? Because the last time we see Edwin De Los Santos in the boxing ring was November of 2023. And that fight, whenever I think about it in my head, gives me the ick. Between him and Shakur Stevenson, because in my lifetime, that was one of the most boringest world championship fights in boxing history. That left a sour taste in my mouth of what Edwin De Los Santos can bring to the table, and at times what Shakur Stevenson can bring to the table. Because, guys, Shakur Stevenson did fight with one hand, okay. You get a pass for that. But Edwin De Los Santos only landing 40 total punches in 12 rounds. And yes, Shakur Stevenson with one hand was on his high horse. It was a track meet in that boxing ring. But 40 total punches in 12 championship rounds is unacceptable. And this man has somehow, some way weaseled his way get back into getting a world title shot against Keyshawn Davis this weekend. So it's rare that somebody in boxing coming off a loss for fighting for a vacated world title gets back being out of the ring for over a year and some change, gets a world title shot against Keyshawn Davis. So I want to see if Edwin De Los Santos can capitalize on this opportunity. But heading into the tail of the tape here, starting with the challenger, Edwin De Los Santos. He has 16 victories, 2 losses in his boxing career. He has 14 victories come away of knockout, stands at 5'8", and has a reach of 70 inches. Then I'm looking at the champion, Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis has 13 victories, 0 losses to his resume, 9 victories come away of knockout. Currently the reigning defending WBO lightweight champion, stands at 5'9" with a reach of 70 inches. So the height advantage goes to the champion, Keyshawn Davis, but both of these respective fighters both have a reach of 70 inches. So we'll see how that plays a factor once these respective fighters get in the ring with each other Saturday night, fighting for the coveted WBO lightweight title. So these are the following game plans that I have for these respective fighters to follow, starting with the challenger, Edwin De Los Santos. I think Edwin De Los Santos has to cut the ring off. And Edwin De Los Santos is really good at pressuring his opponents when he wants to walk his opponents down, make them uncomfortable, making his opponents fight off the back foot. I think that's when Edwin De Los Santos is in his element, in his prime in the boxing ring, most comfortable and relaxed when he can walk his opponents down, setting the tempo offensively and dictating the fear, putting the fear into his opponents with his power. And speaking of the power, next game plan should be Edwin De Los Santos establishing the power. And he has a stiff, mean jab to keep his opponents off of him. And he's good at landing punches and flurries. This is a fighter that is very active in between rounds. He has a strong, stiff jab. He has a strong right hand. He can land 1-2 combinations. Edwin De Los Santos is a powerful fighter. That's someone that can cut the weight at lightweight at 135 pounds in the sport of boxing. So what he should do against the champion, he should dictate the fight offensively, stick to the game plan of landing the power shots, establish the power, and then stick to the game plan and not be frustrated. Because I know that's exactly what Edwin De Los Santos' corner is going to be telling him in between these rounds. Establish the power, land the 1-2 combinations, land your stiff jab, land the strong right hand that you possess. And do not get frustrated for the traps that Keyshawn Davis could possibly give you. Because once Keyshawn Davis figures you out, once he knows that you're frustrated, it's game over. It's game over. And you cannot afford to do this if you're Edwin De Los Santos fighting a dangerous lightweight fighter in Keyshawn Davis for this fight. So then let's move on to the game plans for the champion Keyshawn Davis. I think Keyshawn Davis should try to land the left hook. I think the left hook should be his bread and butter and his best shot that he brings to the boxing ring this weekend. I think Keyshawn Davis has a strong left hook, and he's capable of landing the strong left hooks several times in this fight. I think he can land the left hooks to the head, rock Edwin De Los Santos, make him see stars, hurt him, and rock him, send him to the canvas. He can also land the left hook to the body, to the sternum, and slow down Edwin De Los Santos in the fight. And I also think the left hook should be pivotal for Keyshawn Davis to use, because I was looking at the film this weekend. I rewatched the fight between Edwin De Los Santos and Jose Valenzuela in September 2022. Jose Valenzuela knocked down Edwin De Los Santos with a left hook shot back in 2022. So I think Keyshawn Davis, I think Bo Mack and his corner should capitalize on using the left hook as much as possible for this fight against Edwin De Los Santos. Next, I think Keyshawn Davis should take his time and pick his spots against Edwin De Los Santos. And when Keyshawn Davis can pick his spots, when he takes his time landing his spots, that's where you see all the arsenal and the toolbox becoming open and becoming deployed. And that's when his opponents get in the worst trouble in the ring. And I think Keyshawn Davis is very dangerous when he can take his time and pick apart his spots, land the clean shots upstairs, downstairs to slow his opponents down, especially if he could pin them on, if he could pin Edwin De Los Santos back up on the ropes, tee off with the fist in his hand, and they go upstairs down. Man, I'm telling you, Keyshawn Davis, when he could do that, that is when you see him in his bag, in the best version of Keyshawn when he could do that. But last but not least, I think Keyshawn Davis should win the counterpunching battle. And I think if Keyshawn Davis can win the counterpunching battle, he's going to win this fight. Keyshawn Davis is just more explosive. He has the speed advantage, and it has the overall boxing background and the better boxing tools than Edwin De Los Santos. This man, Keyshawn Davis, is very young in his career. He's already working with trainers, one of the best trainers in the world in Bo Mack. He also trains with Terrence Crawford. There's legends that come and visit him like Floyd Mayweather in between. He also works with Shakur Stevenson and camps him as well. This man has already got a lot of knowledge and collected a lot of data in his camps. I think Keyshawn Davis is the real deal, and we'll see what he could do in this ring against Edwin De Los Santos. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Keyshawn Davis to successfully retain his WBO lightweight title against Edwin De Los Santos. And I'm going to go with a knockout. I like a knockout victory for Keyshawn Davis for one reason only. Keyshawn Davis is there to defend his title, yes, but he's also there to send a message to the other lightweight contenders and the other lightweight champions in this division. Gervonta Davis holds the WBA title. Shakur Stevenson holds the WBC title. Vasily Lomachenko, if he comes back or not, still holds the IBF title. So I think he's going to outclass and outbox Edwin De Los Santos. And another reason why I like him scoring the knockout victory, he's going to want to do something that his mate Shakur Stevenson did not do. Get the stoppage and get Edwin De Los Santos out of there before the 12th and final round. I think he's going to do that in his coming in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. And I can see the left hook being very pivotal for Keyshawn Davis in this fight. He can land the left hook to the head, to the body, to the sternum. And I've seen, like I just said a few moments ago, Edwin De Los Santos, when he fought Jose Valenzuela back in 2022, he got sent to the canvas and got knocked down in that fight with Jose Valenzuela landing the left hook. So I think Keyshawn Davis is going to use that to his advantage. But I think he's going to win the counter-punching battle. I think Keyshawn Davis is just the more explosive fighter, the faster fighter, the quicker fighter with better footwork. I think he's going to also frustrate Edwin De Los Santos to set up traps. This man has learned a lot of boxing knowledge working with Bo Mack. Like I just said, he trains with Terrence Crawford. He trains with Shakur Stevenson. He's learned a lot already in his young boxing career, and he's going to put on a show against Edwin De Los Santos this weekend in the sport of boxing. But that is my fight prediction for this weekend's fight between Keyshawn Davis and Edwin De Los Santos.